I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone on the dark clouds that had us blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Yes, I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Sing it with me. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look on the right, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are those dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sing it, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Can we imagine? It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Welcome everybody, happy Sunday. Thanks for singing along.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. So this reminds me of like the parties I used to go to in college. There would be the party, and then there would be that crowd that was in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So we have what we're doing here today, and then apparently there's a kitchen crowd in there as well. But the kitchen's always the heart of someplace. But I'm glad you guys are in the room with me. And for you in the virtual world, you can be in any room you want to. I'm just glad that you're watching as well. So here we are in April, and the day before the eclipse, and all that other kinds. Do you know, though, it's interesting because I know several people in our community who are traveling to Mexico and other places to watch the eclipse. But in traditional cultures, it is considered very inauspicious to be in the eclipse. You want to kind of stay inside. They say that if you are exposed to the eclipse, you are complicit with it. And so anyway, wherever that is and however it's going on, I'm just glad that you guys are here, and there's that. So kind of want to play a little game with you guys up front here this morning, but I just wanted to do the announcements first. So, and there's not many of them. The usual suspects are always there. The gift shop is got some interesting stuff in it, and the ladies, Patty and Sherry, are here today. Noreen's not here, but anyway, they've got some interesting things that are going on there. There's a couple people in our community that are going to be needing some help. Mark Weaver, as far as food, but also he may be needing transportation to his doctor in La Jolla periodically. There's a sign-up sheet for him and also for Jennifer. She's both of them have got some health challenges, and both of them can use support as far as food and also driving to doctor's appointments. So the information on that is on the sign-up sheets out in the front there. You could talk to Andrea. She'll bring you up to speed, or Terry. Both of them know what's kind of going on there as well. And that's that. So, yes, so Embracing the Illusion. Oh, that's your thing. That's happening on May 2nd and 3rd. That's right, Embracing the Illusion. I saw that, and apparently my glasses. No, I see. Yes, so that's. So you want to say anything about that?
My bad, sorry. What did I do to it? Oh.
Testing.
There we go. Yeah, so May 2nd and 3rd, this is going to be a deep dive into all kinds of things with science with Lawrence Krauss, who's a world-renowned theoretical physicist. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be doing some presenting on philosophy and how that relates with science. And a great food, a great location, Palma Valley Country Club. If you're interested, the website is on the slide there, but also I think the ad is in the weekly newsletter, and you can get the all the information for the event there, or you can see me afterwards.
I know that guy. He's like a celebrity, right? Like a celebrity scientist. He's on the documentaries and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognize him.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And he's with Dr. Krauss. So Paul has his meditation on Wednesdays at 12:30. And it's a very sweet little thing. I'm sure it's going to be quite nice this week because he's back from Hawaii. So that'll be kind of a cool thing. Lee is nominated for the San Diego Music Awards. So that's coming down the line there too. Yeah. When is that? What day is that?
Isn't it April 30th?
You said that, April 30th. Yeah, and it said Humphreys. So that's something to keep on the radar.
I've actually got a show that I wanted to announce. This is a nice little restaurant one where you can talk and hang out with friends. It's not just a show, but it's this Tuesday in Carlsbad at La Papagayo, if that's not too far.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I thought it's the kind of place that's fun to hang out and have some drinks.
They moved. They used to be on PCH.
The Carlsbad one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never
No, it was in Encinitas.
There's one in Encinitas still.
Oh,
on
it's still
PCH,
there.
But there's
Don't mind us.
Now there's a Carlsbad. I'm playing the Carlsbad. It's newer. Yes.
Okay. Oh, very cool. I saw that the other day. Yeah.
Yes, on Tuesday.
Papagayo on Tuesday night. Good to know that.
Yeah, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Then today at 2:00, at Bob Burton Center, the Fallbrook Music Society is doing Vivaldi's Four Seasons. And the Redlands Symphony is performing it, and they are just extraordinary. And it's a screaming deal. It's like $25 at the door. So Fallbrook Music Society is going on today too. Let's see, anything else I'm missing on that? What? Oh yeah, and Andrea's running the prayer circle. Yes, and that's after service, about 5 minutes after service. After who's ever in the kitchen has prepared whatever we're going to have, you can have a little bite and then go pray. So here's the, now let's pray in, because I want to use this in my talk. So where would it go? So anyway, so Liz has there you are, girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome. Hi, I am Liz, your practitioner of service this morning, and I know most of you, but there is some newer faces. And, I just want to say this is my spiritual family center. And I come here with an open heart, and it fills me so much to see you and to witness that you're here for the same reason, and that we're here together in community. And it makes all the difference in the world. And even though we're a small amount, and sometimes that's discouraging, and then I think, who is here is meant to be here. And let us just lift up our hearts and just honor those that can't be here, maybe for health reasons, and for those that we pray for. Every Friday we pray, and we have your names, and we send out all of that prayer. And prayer is what we do, and I'm honored to be in service doing that. So I welcome you, and if you're relatively new, we just welcome all paths to the divine. And that's one of the things that I love so much about Hilltop, that we're open and that we welcome all. So with that, let's do prayer. And so if you choose to close your eyes, just get centered in your seat, knowing that Whatever you choose to do, you are open. And as we breathe together, we come together. And we recognize that light, that love, and that inspiration that comes from prayer. As we settle ourselves, we get quiet within. That voice, that essence, that beautiful energy of spirit is within all of us and connects us in such a wonderful way that no matter what our number, when two or more are gathered, that inspiration, that energy, that vibration, all of it is so present. And I draw upon that, not only for today in this beautiful Sunday, sunny day, but for the week in front of me. And that's why I come, to be inspired, to know that I can live, and we all can, a higher life and be the highest that we can within us, no matter what life deals us. And, there are bumps in the road, and that's part of the texture of life, that we come together to see this beautiful tapestry that is a representation of the divine. And so with that, I just release these words, today's music, today's Reverend Guy's words, that it may be uplifting for all of us, that we may carry these tools with us in the week and the weeks to follow. Knowing this with deep, deep gratitude, together we say, and so it is. And as we begin a new month, the theme for the month, and we do themes each month to kind of inspire us to, again, live a higher life. And the focus for the month of April is in the realm of infinite possibilities. And when Reverend Guy gave that to me, I thought, wow, how interesting. Infinite possibilities. And that opened up for me creativity, all the things that I really wanted in my life, and getting out of fear or pain or whatever, pain of the day is, but moving me in an inspired way of what can I create? What are my possibilities? And opening that up. So I chose a reading by one of my favorite authors of long time, F. Scott Fitzgerald. And it goes like this. For what it's worth, it's never too late, or in my case, too early, to be whoever you want to be. There's no time limit. Start wherever you want. You can change or stay the same. There are no rules to this thing. We can make the best or the worst of it. I hope you make the best of it. I hope you see things that startle you. I hope you feel things you've never felt before. I hope you meet people who have a different point of view. I hope you live in a life that you're proud of. And if you're not, I hope you have the courage to start over again. And so it is. As we contemplate that, or whatever you want to this morning, we're going to go into 3 minutes of silent meditation. And let's re-enter the room with eyes open and an open heart.
Maybe one man in the microphone, but I didn't get here on my own. Mama taught me my first song and brother let me sing along when they didn't have to. We hear it every day. This world has gone astray. They wanna be the first to tell you it's getting worse. But what they don't tell you is people coming through, coming through, coming through. People like you and you and you. You didn't have to, but you do, but you do. You keep on coming through, coming through, coming through. When you feel like you can't cope and you're at the end of the rope, just leave your heart wide open. You start to feel that hope. Come on through. Think about how far we've come, the impossible we've done. Compassion, innovation, through every generation. There's people coming through, coming through, coming through. People like you and you and you. You didn't have to, but you do, but you do. You keep on coming through, coming through, coming through. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Thank you. Sing it to yourself. Singing you. Yeah, you. Thank you. Yeah, you. To the teachers and creators, to the givers and caretakers, enterprises 9 to 5ers, we're all just Earth survivors. And I feel like to everyone who helped me along, who listened to my song, who made these strings are strong, and who made this microphone. I know who. It's those people coming through, coming through, coming through. People like you and you and you. You didn't have to, but you do, but you do. You keep on coming through, coming through, coming through. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm singing to you. Yeah, you. Thank you. The people coming through. People like you. People coming through. People like you. That's all we can do, right? Keep on coming through. Let's welcome the Reverend Dr. Guy Williams.
Go to the other one. This is red, so I'm thinking I'm gonna go to the other one. Because it's green and the other one was red. So in the realm of infinite possibilities, I love the sound of that. And it's a lot to unpack, but it's probably one of my favorite topics. And where it leads me is this idea of magic and what it means to live a magical life. And I'll kind of get into what I mean by that in just a second. But, you know, in the ancient world, there were kind of like three main teachings that sort of coexisted together. They were kind of comfortable together. There was Hermeticism, Gnosticism, and Platonism. And so Hermeticism is kind of its origins really are in the Egyptian mystery schools and the work of Pythagoras and geometry and music and numbers, astronomy, all those kinds of factors, but also healing and the roots of alchemy as we understand it, which gives way to science. So science and magic, they share the same DNA. There's Platonism, which is really the essence of philosophy. And philosophy doesn't so much teach us what to think, but how to think. And there's kind of a thought that goes around, in nerdy schools that I run around with, what says, that if you think of any kind of philosophy, even modern philosophy, everything is kind of a footnote to Plato. Because Plato was, everything is kind of a commentary on those kinds of things. And then there's Gnosticism. And Gnosticism, true Gnosticism, really is this idea that at the end of the day, what really matters is our experience of the numinous, our experience of the luminous beingness of all things. And so, in the ancient world, all three of these things kind of coexisted with each other. It wasn't like you were with this school or you were competing with those schools. Everybody was sort of together on that. And they have their roots in things that we experience and things that we do today. And so does this concept of what it means to practice magic. And what I want to offer is that new thought, which is kind of the teaching that we espouse, or I espouse, has its roots in a sense in Hermeticism, in magic, in a sense. And I kind of was thinking about this week. There's almost like two kinds of magicians, if you think about them. Actually, something that my teacher used to say, which I think is really interesting, is she says, it's not the magicians that you see that you should be concerned about. It's the ones you don't see. It's the ones that are sort of behind the scenes. And so, but I think for most of us in the world that we live in today, we think of maybe two types of magicians. One is the ones that are sort of safe within their circle. If you think of the tarot card, the first card is the magician, and there he is, it's ritual, it's all that. But then there's kind of the more feral souls, the shamans, and they're much more experiential on kind of things. Maybe we're a synthesis of all of them or none of them, or kind of creating it as we kind of go along. But where this takes me is it's probably taking you to the same place, which is Emily Dickinson, right? Because Emily Dickinson, yeah, of course, I'm right. I mean, naturally it would be there. But Emily Dickinson has this great line where she says, "The possible's slow fuse is lit by imagination." Let me say that again. The possible's slow fuse is lit by imagination. What do you think that means? Maybe say it quietly to yourself. Sometimes, in some spiritual centers, some churches, that's like, everybody repeat this together. And sometimes that kind of gives me the creeps, because it's kind of like all of a sudden it's like we're all intoning and ritually. But just say that quietly to yourself. The possible's slow fuse is lit by imagination. Any takers on that? What do you think that means? Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Anyone? Yes. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Yes. You need the imagination. That's kind of what I think too. I think it all begins in the imagination. I think the thing that kind of distinguishes us as humans is our capacity to imagine, to create images, to create things, to create pathways or prototypes or whatever that may be, to be able to visualize that which hasn't even existed before. You know, it's the realm of the imaginal that magic begins. It's what Tolkien called the realm of fairy, the imaginal. And you know, and it kind of comes down to this one idea that we understand that's not new. It's as ancient as they come. It goes, like I said, all the way back to the Egyptian mystery schools, to Greece and all that, which is, you know, thoughts are things and thoughts become things. And if you think about that, the fact that you are sitting here is because of a series of thoughts that have led you here. And then if you think of anything, the chair that you're sitting on, the TV that we're looking at, the microphone that I have, you know, it was a series of thoughts that brought these things in. And so it kind of comes down to, as Emerson says, the genesis of anything is a thought. And so it's thoughts. Thoughts are things, you know. And again, the ancient Greeks would say, you know, they would call these the muse. They literally are things, but thoughts become things. Something that Michael O'Dooley says is this: he says that nothing plays a greater role in how we construct our fortunes and misfortunes than the thoughts we choose to think. So here's where it gets more interesting, right? Because we are not victims to our thoughts. Our thoughts are things that we create on our own. Now, you know, like it's, you know, you've heard me say this before, you know, in Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy, he talks about how time is love, because he says the things that we dwell most upon are the things we truly love. And the things we truly love are the things that we become. So in a very real way, we begin to embody our thoughts. And, you know, we, for better or for worse, you know, however we choose to do it. But at the end of the day, what we believe, what we think, what we dwell upon is what we become. And it's how it begins to outpicture in the circumstances and the events of our life. So when Ernest Holmes would blithely say, change your thinking, change your life, there's a real truth to this, because if something isn't working, then look at the thought behind it. If something is working, enhance the thought behind it. But it all kind of comes down to that. And to me, this is the real work of magic. And again, you're probably thinking, oh, he's going to quote Dion Fortune. Well, of course I am, right? Because Dion Fortune says, she defines magic as this. She says, magic is the art and science of the change in consciousness through the will. Magic, to define magic at its easiest level, and Dion Fortune, for that one or two of you that don't know who she was, Dion Fortune was this great old 19th century warhorse. Actually, she was 20th century in England. She was British. There's all kinds of really fun things, and she's a great author. Wrote beautiful stuff. Probably her fiction is her most informative, as some of these characters are. But she was also a member of the Golden Dawn and did all these other kinds of things. But she says magic is the art and science of the change in consciousness through the will. Now, when I say the word will, it's not like we sort of will things into existence, because we actually really don't. And I think probably the best way of working with the will comes from a guy by the name of Thomas Troward. Thomas Troward was right up there with Dion Fortune. You know, he was an interesting guy. He was a British jurist. He was born in India, educated in Britain, and went back to India, and he was part of the British occupation of India, and worked as a jurist, and then retired and went back to England, and then he became a painter and an esotericist. But he was very influential to Ernest Holmes, who was the founder of our particular denomination, and he writes about the will. The will is not something that we use to force events to happen, but the will is what we use to keep our attention on the thing. So it's not like we will things into happening, but we use that sense of remembering and remembering and remembering. Those of you who practice any form of meditation or any kind of prayer kind of know what this is. You know that there are. It's I don't know if you're like me, but often it's easy to get distracted. And so what it is it's just bringing us back and bringing us back and bringing us back. And I think about this because, this whole application of how we begin to think and how we begin to affect change is, again, as Ernest Holmes says, it's simple, but not easy, because it's simple to say, yeah, all I have to do is change a thought that I'm having, or change a different way of how I look at things. Yeah. And then put that into practice. And it's interesting because I work with people, when I work in as a spiritual director, I work in spiritual counseling, and we talk about this, and someone says, well, yeah, I've tried that and nothing ever comes of it. And I think to myself, okay, I don't say this, but I think to myself, okay, let's sometimes I say this, okay, let's work this through. Okay, it has taken you 20, 30 years to develop an idea, a thought, a belief that you have anchored in your very being. It's in your bones. And you've decided to change your thinking, and you've practiced that for all of 5 days, and you say, it doesn't work. Right? Yeah, it's not, this doesn't work for me. This is all, yeah, because there's a thought, and then there's the thoughts that are adjacent to that thought, and then there's the supporting thoughts, and then there's this, and then there's that, and then there's the two ravens out in the front yard. I mean, it's like you just go on and on and on. And so the will is the thing that just gently brings us back, and just gently brings us back, and gently brings us back. And so that we're literally drawing new neural pathways in our mind. We're literally reprogramming our brain. And you can't do it by making yourself wrong. You can't do it by punishing yourself. You can't do it out of fear. William James, who was the father of what we would consider modern psychologists, who was also a practitioner of New Thought, by the way, interestingly enough. But what he says is this, he says, self-image is the closest we possess to destiny. Here's another one just to say quietly to yourself. Self-image is the closest we possess to destiny. Because how we see ourselves, our idea of who we think ourselves to be, is exactly how we become. And any practitioner of any form of magic, or even any form of meditation, knows that it is essential to develop a healthy sense of who we are. It's essential because, again, what happens for people often is we want to make a change in our life. We want to enter into this realm of infinite possibilities, but there's a thought that is going on. And here's the thing, you can do it. You can manifest, you can do your affirmations, you can do your boards or any of that kind of stuff. And I have something to say about that in a few minutes. But any litany of things that one practices to do, but that little nagging voice in our head that says, there is no little voice in our head that says, yeah, but, or what about, and this is always, whatever the case may be. And so it's important for us to kind of reconcile that, reconcile what that is. And in many ways, what we're doing is we're addressing the fear that it won't happen, or that it couldn't happen, or it doesn't happen to me, or whatever the case may be. And so, if you're like me right now, you're thinking, well, yeah, Jesus said that, right? In the Gospel of St. John, there's this wonderful line. I think it's one of the mantras of my life where Jesus says, he says, there is no fear in love. I love that. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. And so I think what happens often is we give up because we're afraid it won't happen. And so better just to let it go than sit with that sense, because then it's just one more way to make ourselves wrong. It's one more way to affirm the thought that we're holding in our mind about how this good happens for everyone but me. And so the focus is then on this idea of how we love ourselves. How we love ourselves, because that's what we want to develop. And maybe it begins, for me, the contemplation that brings me to this place of amazement and wonder and awe is this luminous beingness, this ground of being is love. And you've heard me say this before, but I think it's important to say probably every day, is there's nothing that we have done, are doing, or can ever do that can separate us from this unrelenting, unconditional love. The fact is that which called us into being loves us. And there's nothing you can do about that. So you might as well just accept it, that you are loved. And when we can sit with this idea that we are loved, it can bring us to a place of amazement, wonder, and awe. And it's in that place that we begin to enter into this realm of infinite possibilities, because then we begin to imagine through the power of love as opposed to through the power of fear. You with me on this one so far? So I think it comes down to so let me say, how do I want to say this? As you who have been so kind and so generous and who continues to come here every Sunday have noticed, I have gone through a probably a bit of deconstruction and reconstruction about where I am with our whole teaching and teachings in general and philosophy or whatever. It's never that I didn't doubt that I wasn't loved or any of that kind of stuff, but sometimes I look at things, sometimes when I feel like, so I had this incident that happened where I got ripped off. I hired this handyman. I spent a ton of money on our fountain to get it fixed. I spent more paying the handyman than I did for the fountain itself. And I just felt like I got ripped off. It's like, now here it is, and it still doesn't work. And it's, where do I go with that kind of thing? And so when I'm in that kind of grumpy mood, I have to watch myself, because I can become a little bit cynical, and then I sort of blanket it onto everything else. And I started thinking to myself, this whole self-help movement kind of stuff, 6 ways to do this and 7 times to do that, and these laws of this and these laws to that, it's just a grift, because it's way more simple than that. It's way, way more simple than that. In fact, what I want to offer you today, my insight in this, is if you want to evoke any kind of shift or change in your life to enhance what's working and to change what's not working, it comes down to 3 things. Now, I'm not going into this, 3 easy steps, because they're easy. They're easy. We do them all the time. They're right there. There are 3 things: honesty, simplicity, and consistency. Honesty, or awareness, simplicity, and consistency. The honesty to say, I can change. The awareness that I'm a living human, living being that is capable of making changes in my life, like what Fitzgerald said, it doesn't matter how old or whatever or however, but to be honest and also be to start where we are, and not get distracted or into kind of some fantasy about, my famous one was, well, when I become enlightened, then I'll get my act together. It's like, yeah, that works, right? When I become prosperous, then I'll develop an idea of money consciousness or whatever the case may be. You start where you are. And this is the training of a practitioner. It is a deep Socratic inquiry into who I am and how I got to be where I am and to be just honest. So that's the first thing. The second thing is simplicity. Simplicity. I was thinking the other day, having gone to this restaurant, and if you've ever been to one of those kind of restaurants where there's just like, page after page after page, and you just look at that and you think, man, I'm done. I'm done. It's how can I simplify this? Anybody that's an engineer understands this probably better than I, is the most effective machines are the simplest ones because there's less things to break down, right? And so if you want to make change in your life, if you want to enter into the realm of possibility, pick one thing, maybe two. But stay at one, because here's the deal: is when one thing changes, everything changes. Everything changes when we change one thing. And so instead of getting all distracted about all these things and these rules and this, that, and what my diet has to be and how I have to practice these laws, just make it simple. And then finally, consistency, yes. And then just do it. Practice it. Yeah, I was actually looking at a quote I had here, but just do it. Because the other thing is this, is you start thinking, okay, this is what I want to manifest in my life. Can I do it? Yeah, I can do it. Am I capable of it? Absolutely. Okay, and how am I going to do it? I'm going to do these 3 things every day. I'm going to journal. I'm going to count my money. I'm going to count, whatever the case is, I believe I can do it. This is how I do it. And then I do it consistently and not get distracted by, and then I'm going to do something else. And then I'm going to do something else. Because that's junky behavior. That's distraction. That's what I would say is what our world wants us to do. It constantly wants to keep us off balance by throwing a barrage of infinite things to do this and infinite to this, to this, and just stay with one thing and do it every day. So the practice is an honest assessment. Simplify it and do it consistently. And what I would offer is practicing those 3 things. So create a vision of what you want to see yourself doing. And it's not so much about the color of the truck or the size of the house or how much is in the bank account, but what does it cause me to experience? Joy. So I visualize myself living in joy or peace or love. I create the vision of myself feeling that thing, because nothing empowers a thought more than a feeling. I create the vision. I simplify it. I'm not coloring it in or doing this, but just I'm experiencing joy, and this is what I look like. And I do it every day. And here's the other thing about doing it every day consistently. Don't do it all the time. Don't get into like, okay, now I know what I'm going to do, because this is junky behavior. Now I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get into like a 4-hour meditation, and then I'm going to end my night with a 6-hour meditation. 5 minutes. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, Every now and then, just pause and say, what am I thinking about? What am I feeling right now? And just notice it and gently bring ourselves back to it. Because if we start thinking, oh man, I got to do this all the time, then what happens is we move into fear that we're going to do it wrong, that we're going to fail, that I'm not doing it enough. And then we're no longer in love. We're no longer in possibility. We get distracted and we throw the whole thing out. Create a vision, simplify it, and practice it consistently. And I promise you, that opens the key to the imagination, and we enter into the realm of infinite possibilities. The possible slow fuse is lit by the imagination. Thank you.
Let's sing together in the ancient ways that we do.
We let love wash over us. We let it be. We let love wash over us. We let it be.
We let spring.
We let spring wash over us. We let it be.
We let dreams.
We let dreams wash over us. We let it be.
We let light.
We let light wash over us. We let it be.
We let peace.
We let peace wash over us. We let it be.
Back to love.
We let love wash over us. We let it be.
One time without the music here.
We let love wash over us. We let it be.
Yes, we do.
No, we got it. Thank you. I love that. Light, love, peace, spring.
Yeah, that's nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Just when I was sitting there.
This is why I come here, because Reverend Guy just gave me, and put some notes in my iPhone, some really great tools for the week coming up and even more. Simplify, consistency. And thoughts are things. And I think that's the basis for our philosophy more than anything else. As we think, we create. And we live our life. And our self-image is tied to our destiny. Wow. I really, really great ponderings. Thank you, Reverend Guy. So this is the time for conscious giving. And I look at this as an investment for my soul. And what I mean by that is that, this is the place that I get filled up. My tank gets filled up. And through the week, and through prayer and other things that I do. But this is the kickstart. And what is that worth to me as far as what my life is about and what am I willing to support And where do I want to put my energy and effort? And so that's why I call it an investment in my soul, because this place is so precious to me and so special. So we thank you if you choose to give, either through your service, through monetary. Hold that next to your heart and just know that whatever you choose to give comes back tenfold, that money is an energy. It's a relationship. It's nothing more than that. It's fluid. Service, the same thing. Whatever you choose to be representative of yourself, let it be. Just flow out and just release it with love. And so if you choose to give today, thank you. The Hilltop Center thanks you. And for that, we say, and so it is.
Thank you. I'm singing. Thank you. It's people coming through.
That's good. So, Anne, what's on the table today? Brownies.
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 People coming through.
People come through.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of magic. Oh, no, we're not going there. Good. So thank you. Thank you, Anne. Anne is always consistently making fabulous food, her and Kurt. So please give them a hug and a thank you for that, because they just do wonderful things in the kitchen every Sunday. And, to me, this idea that we can sit and share a cup of coffee and something to eat, is just such a sacred, primal, beautiful thing. So I encourage you to kind of hang out, and I'd love to be able to visit with you out there when we get out there. So there's that. So Tuesday at Papagayo's is going on too. Prayer. Please do not leave without prayer. If you desire it in any way, you can fill out a prayer request. As Liz said at the very beginning of service, the practitioners get together and we pray weekly. So your prayers are held there. And if you'd like one of us to contact you, just make a note on the card and we're happy to do that. You can go up to any one of the practitioners here, and that's Liz and Terry and Kurt and Andrea and Paul. Did I miss anybody? Nope. And just walk up to any one of them and ask them for prayer, and they'd be happy to pray with you. If you want to go deeper, you can make an appointment with any one of them, and they'll be glad to set up that with you. Or Andrea will be running a prayer circle about 10 minutes after service in the Emerson room. So we have that kind of going on. Jeff, it's always great when you're here on Sundays. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, and he brought Grace, who has a master's degree now. When I first came to the church, I think you were like in first or second grade. I think you were 7 years old. Yes, I remember that. You were 7. And now you're not. And so I think Karen and Larry were the greeters today. Thank you guys so much for that. They are. Yeah, it's a pretty simple thing, and they have that going on. Yeah. So let's say, did I miss it? I hope I didn't miss any of the guys picked up. Huh? All good? Yes, Michael. Mm-hmm.
And there's somebody here that was the reason that we're here. There were 3 people. There were people.
Bury yourself on this one, Michael. Yep. Mm. 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 Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I wouldn't call her old because that woman goes out line dancing. It's yeah. Barbara, we always love that you're here. Okay, good. Yeah. So with that, let's pray. I forgot to thank Lee always, and Jim. Thank you very much. So as Ralph Waldo Emerson says, prayer is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view. So let us be honest. There's one life that lives in and through and as all things, and nothing is separate from that. Let us be simple. It is unrelenting love, forever luring us into our highest good. And let us be consistent. May this day fill us with amazement, wonder, and awe. And tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. And for this we are grateful. And so it is.
I want to thank Clay for the request here.
Beneath the flashing lights and smoke, a battle rages on unspoken of. Girls put your war paint on, guys get your game face on, hearts lie on the floor battered and broken. Oh, come on, let's rendezvous at the new day's dawn. If you want to love like it's a revolution, there's no need for armor, there's no place for war, because it's love, love, love we're fighting for. Hey now, it could be simple, darling, if we change how we look at love. It's coming any day now, there's a new way now. Let me hear you say now, you've had enough. Come on, let's rendezvous at the new day's dawn. If you want to love like it's a revolution, there's no need for armor, there's no place for war, because it's love, love, love we're fighting for. I'm dreaming of a day when it's all done, when the walls come down and love has won. It won't stop the pain we feel, at least we'll know it's real. Only you can tell when the time has come. Come on, let's rendezvous at the new day's dawn. If you want to love like it's a revolution, there's no need for armor, there's no place for war, because it's love, love, love we're fighting for. Hey now, it could be simple, darling, if we change how we look at love. It's coming any day now, there's a new way now. Let me hear you say it now, we've had enough.
Let's rendezvous. Infinite possibility. Much love. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Thanks, Jim.